Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to get into the ring a little bit today?
Always ready for a good fight. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Of course. Well, today we are going to be talking about the life and career of Claressa T-Rex Shields. And specifically, we're going to be talking about the movie The Fire Inside.
Yeah, fantastic film about an amazing athlete.
Yeah, two-time Olympic gold medalist.
Right. So,
And she's still young.
yeah, she's still going.
Yeah.
And the thing that I loved about this film is I feel like it does such a great job of exploring her background.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in sports stories. It becomes all about the athletic achievement, which is amazing.
Right.
But to me, it's so much more powerful when you understand the context where someone comes from.
The
And so this film wastes no time in kind of plunging us into her childhood. You know, we see her growing up in Flint, Michigan.
really tough environment to grow up in.
Yeah. Like just the scenes of her like walking through the neighborhood.
Yeah, there's a sense of poverty and abandonment and kind of, yeah, it just hits you hard right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting how they juxtapose that with her almost this burning desire to get out and become something more,
Yeah.
you know?
It's like those early scenes are almost setting the stage for like,
Yes.
this is where I come from and this is what I'm going to overcome.
Yeah, it's like those circumstances almost fueled her in a way.
Yeah, like that fire inside was already there.
Yeah.
But then those difficult circumstances just fan the flames even more.
Exactly.
And then, of course, there's the introduction of boxing.
Yes.
Which I love how it's portrayed in the film because it's more than just a sport for her. It's like an escape.
An outlet.
But it's also a form of self-discovery.
It gives her a structure, too,
Yes.
in a world that feels very chaotic.
Absolutely. And you know that scene where she first puts on those gloves? I mean, I got chills. Like, you can almost feel the transformation happening.
Yeah, it's like she finds her power in that moment.
Yeah. And then we meet Jason Crutchfield, her coach, played by the amazing Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, he's so good.
Right.
Such a powerful performance.
Yeah. And I love their dynamic because he's not just training her to box, he's training her to be a champion in life.
He sees something in her
Yeah.
that maybe even she doesn't see in herself at that point.
Right.
And he's determined to draw it out.
Yeah. He's tough, but he's fair. And there's this like underlying sense of respect and care.
He believes in her.
Yes. And I think that's so important, right? To have someone in your corner.
Absolutely. It's like he becomes this sort of father figure
Yeah.
in her life, filling a void that was maybe there.
Right. And the film doesn't shy away from the challenges of being a woman in a male-dominated sport.
Absolutely.
There are those subtle moments
Yeah.
where she's kind of underestimated or dismissed.
Or even intimidated.
Yeah. And it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it's also so important that it's shown because it adds another layer to her fight. It's not just about winning in the ring. It's about winning against
Societal expectations.
Yes. It's about proving that women belong in this space.
And that they can dominate, too.
Yes. And the director does such an incredible job of conveying that. I mean,
Visually, yeah.
those close-up shots during the fights, you can practically feel the sweat and the blood and the tears.
It's visceral.
It's like you're right there with her.
Right there in the ring.
And the way they use those wider shots to kind of show the context of her environment.
Yeah.
The poverty, the kind of the bleakness of her surroundings.
The contrast is really striking.
It really sets the stage for like, this is what she's fighting against.
Yeah.
And then the music too, like the way they use the soundtrack to kind of amplify those emotions.
Oddly effective.
Yeah, it's like this mix of like motivational anthems and then these really soulful kind of introspective moments.
Yeah, like it reflects her own internal struggle.
It totally does. And I think that's what makes this film so compelling. It's not just about boxing. It's about
The human spirit.
Yes.
It's about overcoming adversity and achieving your dreams.
And I think that's something that we can all relate to.
Absolutely. It's a universal story.
It is.
Told through the lens of this incredibly talented athlete.
Yeah. So are you ready to dive even deeper into the world of Claressa Shields?
Let's do it.
All right, stay tuned.
And we're back, still in the ring with Claressa Shields.
One of the things that I really appreciate about this film is how it portrays Claressa's vulnerability. Like, it would have been so easy to just show her as this, unstoppable force.
Yeah, the tough girl, the T-Rex.
Right. But the film goes deeper. It shows us her doubts, her fears.
Her insecurities.
Exactly. And I think that makes her ultimate triumph even more powerful because we understand the battle she's fighting, not just in the ring, but also within herself.
Yeah, it humanizes her.
Yeah.
Right? We see that even the strongest among us have those moments of self-doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Claressa, those doubts are amplified by, being a woman in a male-dominated sport.
Right. Like
Yeah.
there's that added layer of societal pressure.
Yeah, and you see it play out in her interactions with some of the male boxers and coaches. There are these moments where they underestimate her, try to intimidate her. It's subtle sometimes, but it's definitely there.
It's like they're trying to put her in her place. Keep her in a box, so to speak.
Great. But Claressa refuses to be defined by those limitations.
She pushes back. And it's those moments that really make you root for her even more.
I know, you're just like, oh. You go, girl. Prove 'em wrong. What did you think about her relationship with her coach, Jason?
Oh, it's so central to her journey.
Right.
He's tough on her, but you can tell he really cares.
Yeah. Like he sees her potential even when she doubts herself.
He pushes her to be her best. But he also provides that support that she needs.
It's that perfect balance of challenge and encouragement.
Yeah. It made me think about the important role mentors play in our lives. The people who believe in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves.
Yeah. And it's not just about athletic achievement either. It's about character development, about
Yeah.
becoming a better person.
Absolutely. And speaking of important relationships, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on her relationship with her mother.
Oh, man. That's a complicated one.
Right? It's definitely complex. A lot of layers there.
There's love, but there's also a lot of pain and resentment.
Years of hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what's so powerful about how it's portrayed in the film is that it feels authentic.
It's raw. It's honest.
It's not sugar-coated. It's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through it all, you see that her mother ultimately wants what's best for her, even if they don't always see eye to eye.
Yeah. She recognizes that boxing is more than just a hobby for Claressa. It's a way out.
A path to a better life.
Yeah. And I think that sense of hope is something that really resonates throughout the film. Even in the darkest moments, there's this underlying belief that things can get better.
Yeah. And visually, the film reinforces that. The way they contrast the bleakness of her environment with the vibrancy of the boxing ring.
It's like a metaphor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's fighting her way out of the darkness into the light.
And you can see it in her face as she trains. There's the sweat, the determination, but there's also this joy, this passion, this fire that's just burning inside her.
Yeah. And the music, oh my gosh, the music.
Right.
It's so good.
I love how they blend those like hip-hop beats with those soulful melodies.
It perfectly captures the energy and the emotion of her journey.
I know. Like that scene where she's training and Kendrick Lamar's All Right is talk about chills.
I got goosebumps.
It's like the anthem for her fight, you know?
Yeah, it's not just her personal fight either.
Right?
But the film also touches on those broader social issues.
Like poverty, systemic inequity,
Yeah.
the lack of opportunities.
But it also shows the power of individual determination, the idea that you can overcome those obstacles.
And that's what makes Claressa's story so inspiring. She's not just fighting for herself. She's fighting for her community, for every young girl who dreams of a better life.
And that's what makes her journey to the Olympics so compelling. It's a symbol of hope, a testament to the human spirit.
It's like all those years of struggle, all those sacrifices, all those battles she's fought, they've all led to this moment.
And the stage is set for an epic showdown.
I know. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. We are back and ready for the main event, the Olympics.
The culmination of all her hard work and sacrifice.
It's like you can feel the pressure mounting as the film builds to these fights, not just for Claressa, but for everyone who's been following her journey.
Right. It's like she's carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire community on her shoulders.
And the way they capture the intensity of those Olympic bouts,
Wow.
the editing is so effective.
Those quick cuts, the close-ups, the sound of the crowd roaring, you're right there in the arena with her, feeling every punch.
Yeah, it's like you can almost taste the sweat and the blood.
It's visceral. And then those slow motion shots during those key moments.
Oh, yeah. It's like time slows down, so you can really appreciate the skill and the power behind every move.
It highlights the athleticism, the grace. Boxing is often seen as this brutal sport.
Yeah.
But there's also an artistry to it. Absolutely. It's like a dance, a very violent dance.
Yeah. And Claressa moves with such precision and power. You can tell she's completely in control.
And the music just adds to that intensity. The way it swells and dips with the rhythm of the fight. It's like the soundtrack is another character in the ring.
It gives me chills just thinking about it. Especially that moment when she lands the final blow in the gold medal match.
Oh, man. Talk about an emotional roller coaster.
The crowd erupts. Claressa's face just lights up with this mix of joy and relief. It's a victory years in the making.
And it's a victory that resonates far beyond the boxing ring. It's a testament to the human spirit.
It's a story about overcoming adversity, defying expectations, achieving the impossible.
It sends a powerful message to anyone who's ever been told they can't do something.
Yeah, Claressa's story proves that with enough hard work and dedication, anything is possible.
And her impact goes far beyond the world of sports. She's become a role model for young girls and women everywhere.
Especially those from marginalized communities. She shows them that they can break down barriers, shatter stereotypes, achieve greatness on their own terms.
Representation matters.
Mm-hmm.
And Claressa's story is a shining example of that.
And the fact that she's continued to dominate in the professional boxing world since winning those Olympic gold medals.
Multiple-time world champion.
It's just incredible. It's like she's not content with just resting on her laurels.
She's constantly pushing herself further, breaking new ground.
And she's using her platform to advocate for gender equality in sports.
She's a true champion in every sense of the word.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Fire Inside, what are your final thoughts?
It's a film that stays with you. It's inspiring. It's empowering. It's a reminder that we all have that fire inside of us.
And it's up to us to find what ignites that fire, what drives us to be our best selves.
Whether it's boxing or something else entirely. Claressa's story reminds us that we're capable of achieving incredible things.
So go out there and find your fight, find what makes you come alive, and never give up on your dreams.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep that fire burning.